Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to another episode. I think this is like our 58th episode, something like that. Woohoo. But welcome to TransParents. We're glad to have you tonight. Tonight, we are doing an episode, Joy is Rebellion, the joy we choose. And you're going to hear some of that language tonight just because we know that it looks murky outside, but we refuse to give in. So, my name is Amber. You can find me at TikTok at Moonchild77. And this is my lovely co-host, who I'll let her introduce herself.
Hey, hey, party people. I would like to say hello to Dana and Derek and Jeffrey. Good to see everyone. I am Jenny. My pronouns are she, her. You can find me at Transloving Mama on things like TikTok and Blue Sky. And I actually have my own YouTube channel, but I haven't done much with it yet. But follow me there anyway, because I will start beefing up some content because TikTok's about to become unrecognizable. So
Yeah, you keep telling me that. And I'm like, okay, so do I even stress the build there? And then if I don't build that, where do we build? I don't know where to go. I don't know where to
I
go.
understand. Just
Yeah,
know.
right. Like that's kind of tonight's episode, guys, is sometimes we don't know where to go and what to do. And so let me pull up my little intro here. So in the middle of everything, the headlines, the policies, the moments that make your chest tighten, it can feel almost impossible to talk about joy without sounding naive. But joy isn't naive. Joy is defiance. Joy is a refusal to let fear write the ending for our kids or for us. Tonight, we want to talk about the ways we can choose joy on purpose, even the world is loud and everything with everything else. We're not talking about ignoring the fight. We're talking about building a life where our kids know they are celebrated, not just tolerated. And we're going to share some practical, doable things you can start tonight, things that have worked for us and other families, so that joy becomes a part of your child so that y'all can breathe. So, yeah. I don't know. I felt like with all that, with us coming back last week, we kind of gave y'all a bam, we're back. Here's where we are. Uh,
Hey.
right. We really didn't have any kind of, we had a script, but we didn't have a script. And this week, just again, knowing everything that we're up against, and this is a daily basis. This is a minute to minute basis. What changes on the landscape? And for that, you need a very, very deep well to pull from. And it's hard. It's hard as parents. It's hard to know how to be there for yourself and for your kid, for your communities. And so I just felt like I'd written something actually about another subject, and the line was about joy being rebellious in the face of hardship. And so I thought, you know what? This works on a number of different levels. Let's move this over to transparency. So that's why I wanted to kind of use that as a way for our way to push back. And for tonight is going to be about talking about different things that we can do to help y'all be able to push back, to help your children learn how to push back, whether that be in your communities, within your families, within your house, however it may show up for you. So the first thing I want to talk about is everyday victory. So I know, we know, the landscape looks like crap. Okay, we get it. We get it. So this week, let's celebrate some of the wins that we had this week. This week, first day of school, first day of safety in Portland, Oregon. A trans seventh grader named Eli started school at a newly designated affirming campus in Portland's public schools. This district expanded gender inclusive policies over the summer, guaranteed access to gender neutral restrooms, name pronoun respect in all classrooms, and staff training. Eli's mom said it's the first time he came home smiling and said, "They saw me." So that's a huge, huge win. And just a little thing that we can, these are glimmers that we can, I know it may look like that may never happen in your community, but never say never. This show is about never saying never. Number two, legal block in Missouri, a win for trans youth. A federal judge issued a temporary injunction blocking Missouri's enforcement of SB 49, which would have banned gender affirming care for minors. Families gathered outside the courthouse with signs reading, "Our kids deserve care," and "Trans joy is sacred." Three, community festival in Minneapolis. Pagan Paganicon 2025. A trans and non-binary attendees hosted a trans joy circle with music, storytelling, and ritual. One participant said, "We danced under the moon and called our ancestors by name. We were not erased, we were exalted." Number 4, Florida educators defy the silence. In Broward County, a group of teachers launched an after-school Rainbow Readers Club for middle schoolers, centering affirming literature by trans and queer authors, a quiet act of resistance in a hostile policy climate. Now, this is being done at like a library off campus, but it's still teachers at the school that recognized that there were students who needed this and decided, you know what, the heck, the system, we just won't do it in school. We'll create a different way. And they found the parents and the kids and pulled this together in Florida, no less. Number 5, California expands the protections for trans foster youth. Now, I'm not happy about everything that Governor Newsom has done, but for this one, he did sign a directive ensuring trans and gender diverse youth in foster care have access to affirming placement, healthcare, and legal support, plus training for foster families and their caseworkers. So these are not small things. They are proof that progress is still being made, that joy is still being claimed, and our kids are still finding spaces where they can breathe. So yeah, it's hard, right? Like every headline is like I think everything I respond to lately is angry face, angry face, angry face. And like I want a roll eye emoji. A
Yep.
roll eye emoji would help me a lot.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have to be angry at everything, but there's nothing else
Right.
to like that or the puke zone. It
Yeah.
needs to become like a major emoticon that I can use on certain subjects, and then I wouldn't have to put the angry face. But
Hold on, I'm going to sneeze and then I'm going to chime in. Excuse me and thank you for your patience. I, I was going through it this week. I am so angry and full of rage. So this is such a perfect topic tonight because I at this point, I really, I think I don't know how to find joy. It's not just the landscape, it's the future. And I don't see any way out of this mess. And I'm pretty good at, kind of playing the tape forward and considering. I'm not an overthinker. I don't have anything like anxiety really. So I am pretty rational and reasonable with how I think things through and how I look forward toward the future. And, it all honestly looks bleak to me. But you get in my head, girl. You get in my head. And something
I
else
try
that
to.
happened, which
I try
you
to.
didn't mention, and it's okay that you didn't mention it, but something else that happened, what that happened at the most recent school, and was it or wasn't it a trans individual, a detransgender? I do not know. I don't know enough, and I did not dig into it the way some people have, and I love that some people do that. I chose not to. But there was a response from this administration to say, well, now we're going to make sure that trans people don't have access to firearms, that they essentially want to limit their Second Amendment rights. And I got angry and I felt all those things because regardless of whether or not they can do it, it's the fact that it's brought up, right? But you
Right.
get in my head, girl, and you were in my head going, if they know damn well that this isn't going to fly, why are they doing it? They know that's not going to fly. The NRA came out pretty swiftly and said the Second
Nope.
Amendment is not up for debate. And I even went on to make a TikTok video about this. Hey, we shouldn't be surprised. I can't believe the NRA is an unexpected ally, but they're not. They just know not to do
Well,
that.
they're always going to back their stance, which is guns.
Which is
But
unfettered access.
I did love the fact that here you have the president giving out his order, and this is one of their big ones that they really, really like. This is the reason why we don't see change with gun reforms. We know this. And here's NRA saying, "Oh, no, no,
What?
no, you're not doing that. You're not doing that." And I was just like, my parents, like that was like one of the first things my parents were like, "Did you see what the NRA said?" And I was like, I'm for once I can say I'm happy with the NRA, right? Like I never thought I was gonna say
It's
that,
when
but
that one guy you hate more than anything in the whole world, like makes a good point. Like you hate it, but at the same time, you're also like, thank you, I guess.
Right.
what
Thank you for
conditioning we
making the
did.
point.
But because I kind of had you in my head, that place to say, I know this isn't going to happen. And let me tell you, a lot of people came back on that TikTok and said to me, hey, my an assault on trans people said, essentially a threat to my rights is not a distraction. And I very
Right.
much understand how that person's feeling. I
Right.
understand so much that to them it maybe sounded like I was being flippant or that I was minimizing the
Right.
intent or the problem with this, and I'm not. But I was thinking, trying to, like, what would Amber do? And say, if we get psyched out about that, which is the intent,
Right.
what are we missing? What are they doing over here? So we miss this over here.
Right.
And it's not to say that those rights, it's, let me put it this way. This is the amendment, y'all. This is the one. They sacrificed children to uphold this amendment. It ain't going anywhere. Not for anybody.
I
We
mean,
can't even get
see
them to agree to just
that was
limit to some
that was the
bump
reason why,
stock.
though, that you and I knew that it wasn't going anywhere. They are
Yeah,
so hardcore on gun rights,
it means more
and
to
that
them than anything.
everybody should have them.
Yeah,
That the second that that little rumor started to spin out, right, like
right,
2 days after it happened,
right.
the event, we're going to take them away. Trump comes out with that statement, hey, I'm going to take them away.
Yeah,
And again, the NRA's like, I'm sorry, but no, you're
but
not
no.
going to. Because again, the NRA is going, this is the Constitution. Now, has it been abused and beaten like a domestic violence victim?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, the First Amendment is on life support at this point.
Right? Right? There's
It
very
clearly has.
little left of that. There's very little left of that. But I like the fact that the NRA was like, nope, not going to do that.
And it's the one we'll never come from. We can't even get them to agree to not allow like bump stocks to civilians
But see, you know
or
what happened though?
AR.
This is your point of what you were saying though. Everybody got stuck on they're going to take trans people's rights. They're going to take their guns away, or they're not going to take their guns away, right?
Yep.
In the meantime, what happened with
What
gun
happened?
reforms and for schools?
What happened?
Nothing.
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 Yeah.
Because even if you had passed a bill about trans
Right.
people not being able to have access to firearms, the reduction, the amount of shooters that we have had in this country
Yeah. They
that are
aren't
even
paying.
in that category is like it's like 0.014, I think, or 0.0014. That's how little the percentage is. So let's just clear that one up because I've seen that one over and over and over again. It's like, oh, so you'll make a rule for four, because I saw that, oh, this is like the fourth one or the eighth one. And it's like, so you'll pass a rule for 4 or 8, but the other 4,800 incidents, you did nothing? Why is that? And
Right.
that's because it wasn't about doing anything for schools. It wasn't doing anything for children. It wasn't doing anything for reforms in that direction. It was, let me distract you with what? What has been their big flag? Trans people. It was once again targeting another marginalized group. Again. Again. Oh, you're welcome, Savannah.
I just saw Savannah's comment and was just feeling, hey, I am so glad you're here, Savannah, and Dana
Yes.
also, and Brother Charlie Lewis,
Brother
Jeffrey doing
Charlie, and
hashtag
I was going to say,
Oh
yes,
my God.
truth is stranger than fiction. And getting people to believe what is truth right now is
And that's the
mind-boggling.
other thing that I said. We can't meet on facts. We can't meet in reality. And so here tonight, trying to talk about this finding joy, y'all, I get up and I do one day after the other because that's what I have to do. I just don't have a choice. If somebody else has a choice, knock yourself out. I don't. But I really, truly am just like, what is there left? Like, what is left? How do we ever get on the other side of this? How does any of this get better and change when we cannot meet in reality? So I don't know anything left to do but find little bits of joy, because I'm
Well, I
so
mean, again,
powerless over all
that's
this stuff.
rebellion. That's
Yeah.
rebellion. That's the defiance. That was what pride parades were started on. That's what Stonewall was started on. Was we're not going to take it. And you have shoved us in a closet, and you have buried us, and you have tried to look the other way, and you have tried to name us, and you have tried to out us, and you have tried to shame us. But we aren't, because we're proud to be who we are, just like everybody else. I can't remember. There was a quote, and I wish I kept it around, but it was talking about is it the Fifth Amendment? Oh, shoot! I gotta see if I can find it. I believe it's the Fifth Amendment. That I saw this meme earlier this week. Yes, the Fifth Amendment says no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process. It doesn't say citizen, it says person. It was written this way because even in 1791, the founders knew once you deny basic rights to some, no rights are safe. And so this goes for the trans community. They are people. They have the same rights, period. And if you don't like it, well, go cry somewhere in a corner. But there is no reason to broadcast it to the world. And there's no
Asking
reason
your
to serve
doctor
it.
is dying mad about it is right for you.
uh, there's no reason to serve your hate on a platter.
Right.
Because you know what? I'm going to say, love you, and then turn around and walk the other way. It's not quite a turn the other cheek, because I know that there are really ugly, nasty people out there. And some days I will go toe to toe. Don't get me wrong. I will go toe to toe with my comments some days. Just the gloves are off. I've stepped in the ring, and you better watch the hell out. Then there are other days where I'm the calm, collected me that says, you know what? I'm not going to sink to your level. It's not worth my effort. And it's the education piece, like learning who you can talk to and who you can't, who's willing to listen, who might learn, who might bridge that gap. And then there are other people that are just too backed into their corner right now that are willing to have that conversation. And that's okay, right? We can't win everybody. Rome wasn't built in a day. This is not going to be overcome in a day. Any of our rights that are being stripped now are not going to be regained overnight,
Right.
which again is a sucky thing that I think
Yeah,
our
no, I
country's
mean,
going to have to come around to.
right.
But that's the reason why like tonight I wanted to like let's slap out the joy. So let me throw. Is this the first one? I think this is the first one.
Oh,
And
look.
you got to keep up with the comments because I'm going big screen so I can read this, or
I
we'll be
tell.
messed up. Okay, so daily practices and affirmations. This is the first section that we're going to do. One of the simplest, most powerful tools we've seen in the daily affirmation. These are short, grounding statements you can say out loud, write on a sticky note, tuck into a lunchbox, or tape to a bathroom mirror. They're not magic spells, but they are anchors, and they remind your child and you of the truth when the world tries to tell a different story. And here are some you can use, you can borrow, you can make up your own. Your truth is a gift, not a burden. You are loved without condition. Your joy is a form of resistance. You belong in every room you enter. You are a masterpiece in motion. Your courage inspires change. You are not alone. We walk beside you. You are becoming beautifully. Your voice matters even when it shakes. You are worthy of celebration every single day. Your identity is not up for debate. You carry the strength of those who came before you. You are more than enough exactly as you are. Your light cannot be dimmed by someone else's fear, and you are the author of your own story. And those are just a few. But if you struggle with these things, and this is, I mean, this is for everybody. If you struggle with anything, you could, I mean, tack this on your refrigerator, tack it on your bathroom mirror. I had something that I used to do in therapy because I did not like having pictures taken of myself. I did not like looking in the mirror. was very self-conscious. And my therapist was like, okay, so every time you look in the mirror, you have to say 5 positive things to yourself before you walk away. And that really, and you think about how many times you look in your rear view mirror, and I
Yeah.
stuck to it. Like when I make something like that, I really nail it so that I really do that until I stop doing the negative. And once I stop, like, I don't like my hair, whatever, I'm just going to go with it. When I stop doing those things, then I stopped with the sticky notes. I didn't need them anymore. I didn't need the reminders. I taught myself to stop tearing myself down. But until then, sometimes it's good to have these kind of affirmations to build yourself up with. Are you looking at comments? I see you looking
I am
over.
looking at comments, and Savannah, who mentioned being 50 plus, recently out, trans woman, and Dana saying that she began her journey in 46. At
Mm,
46, part of why we're here and why we try to do what we do. I mean, I think any becoming at any age is absolutely beautiful, but we would love
right,
for more people to feel safe. I don't want anyone to be going to this whole lifetime or decades where they know something's there and there's no space to talk about it or no acceptance and love. And whatever anybody's journey is fine, but I can only speak from my own perspective. I would imagine that for both of you, you wish that this had been here sooner so that you could have been able to do this sooner. And that's what
right.
we want to do. And we love y'all so much and are so glad you're here. I always shared that when my son came out, it was trans women specifically who took me in, who shared their lives with me, who shared their stories, and who helped me because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know, where to kind of turn for good information and guidance
Right.
on how to handle it and in a way that was healthy and good for my kid, first of all. And it was because of women like yourselves that I was able to do that. So I thank you so much.
I wish I'd had that. I didn't have, I
Right.
really didn't have anybody, honestly, around me whatsoever for that experience because honestly, a couple of people within the queer community who I thought would be very, very supportive weren't. Like
Facts.
knee jerk reaction. And I was just like,
Yeah.
really? Wow. Oh, oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I thought you were like one of the couple of safe people I thought my kid had, but scratch that one off the list. Um, and it's sad when you have to do that, but my kid comes first.
Yeah.
And honestly,
Hi.
that is
Yeah.
that is the person I want to be. Is I accept all people. So if I guess maybe I just didn't understand that about that person at the time, and now that I have a clearer picture of who they are, it was like, oh, that's easy to. Nope, sorry, oops. Oh well.
There's a lot of acceptance, I'm sure, from, that all of us go through where we realize, like, okay, well, this isn't what I thought I was going to receive in this moment, maybe from this
Right.
person or, this situation. And it's tough. But just being, all we can do is say, okay, well, then I'm going to go to the next source, right? Like if I try to get water from this well and it's not there, I'm just going to go to the next one. Um,
That's how you can do.
because it's just going
I
to
mean,
happen.
you have to create your own. As I've told people, like you have to. We've created. I think I made that comment to somebody recently. I was like, I created my own family, and they were like, "Wait, who's your family?" And because it was just a different statement. Like they really didn't expect that, given all the other things going on in my life right now outside of this, right? They
Right.
did not expect me to have that statement. And I was just like, well, clearly you can tell where is the family. So it is perfectly safe for you to create your own. So let's go to the second part, rituals of joy. So have a name day celebration, picking a meaningful day. Maybe the day your child chose that name or the day you first started using it. It could be the day they decide to go by different pronouns. It could be the day they finally decide, like some parents, I believe Jenny's son did this too, as mine did. They kind of evolved. They knew something wasn't,
Yeah.
they weren't exactly what they were. but they knew they didn't fit in a male or female box, and whatever. But whenever they land on that spot, whenever they land on that decision, you could use that as their celebration date. And then every year, make that kind of, doesn't have to necessarily be their name day celebration or their birthday celebration, but just create an event that all of you do something. Bake a cake, light candles, hang a banner, do it with friends, do it with your chosen family, do it with people who you want to do it with. Share stories about whatever that, so if it's significant about your pronouns or significant about your gender, that you finally landed on what you feel like you are and you've announced that to the world. Share stories about why that was important to you. Why are we celebrating that moment for you? So that you can call other people in, and not only that, the people that are still questioning possibly around you know you're a safe space. Because at one point you weren't sure where to land either. And it lets them know that that's okay. And it lets you know that you matter. So that's one of them. Another one is the monthly joy jar. Find a jar, decorate it, label it joy jar, or whatever the heck you want. Throughout the month, everyone in the family writes down something that brings them moments of joy, big, small, and puts it into, saw a rainbow, got a hug from a kid, heard my favorite song on the radio. And at the end of the month, on a hard day, you can pull these out and read them. And it's not quite, in fact, honestly, I have them, they're not quite like the monthly joy jar, but I have a collection of, um, what are they? Fortune cookie, my fortunes, the ones that are good, right? Like a lot of them are cheesy or they just don't have really significant meaning, but I've gotten a few that are just like, wow. And so I have like about the kids hate them because I have them like all jimmy jammed up on the refrigerator with like magnets, and they're like all stuck up, and
Yeah.
my kids are just like, enough with, how much more can you put on the refrigerator? I'm like, it's a living collage, leave me alone. My protest stickers are on it, like everything is on my fridge. And the kids hate it because if they knock something, I have to go fix everything again. but
I
but
mean,
whenever I'm having bad, whenever I'm bad, I like go look at that, and like that
yeah.
kind of triggers that moment and takes me back to, okay, everything, it may be chaos, but that was a good moment. And there are more of those.
Savannah has a great point. Just want the information to remain available and easily found to help trans kids and young adults feel accepted so early. That's another reason why we do what we do. And I do understand what you mean. Like that information remains available has become, kind of a something to be concerned about, right? I don't
Right,
know. It feels like sites are getting scrubbed of certain information. And this is what, we know that Nazi Germany did, that they erased these stories, burned these books. I don't think there's any way anymore to take it to that level because it's out there. We're way too digital, we're way too this.
right,
I think that I think that the drive is gonna be so much more to continue to just turn people against each other, that it becomes that kind of almost more like a social correction rather than, burning books or burning, libraries of medical. You can't do it. Um, you could shut us off to information the way that North Korea has done, but you're never
right.
going to be able to get rid of what information's out there now.
No,
So I really do think they're leaning more toward how to make this like a social punishment, right? Because that's where their power lies. Whenever we punish each other in ways that makes life unbearable and unlivable, then people take one of two actions. Typically, they either change, and in that case, they want trans people to go back to just masking, I guess, or hiding, because they're not going to go back to not being trans, or they
right,
want them to bounce, yeet, self delete. I do believe that that's the purpose. And it's really hard to find joy when you know that's the purpose. But I think the joy also comes in. And when we talk about maybe telling like small children or, even older children, is to say they're not going to be able to do that. That's such a big feat. It's a big task, and I'm going to do everything I can to prevent it. And I'm going to keep you safe. And if we got to, if I got to strap you to my back and we got to go swimming across the ocean to get somewhere else, I will. And that's all hyperbolic, of course, but even just letting our kids know that nothing is going to come between, nothing's going to get to you, because I'm going to be a wall. And even saying that, I mean, it is reassuring, right? Like, I know that my partner, for example, can't fix everything, but I did ask him recently, like, I need to know that if push comes to shove, that you're going to be on the front lines with me in protecting, human beings. I need to know that. Do I think
Right.
that's really going to happen? I don't know. But just hearing, yeah, no matter what happens, that's going to be it. Okay, I can breathe a little better. I'm not alone, and the information will be accessible as long as we're here. But that is my concern, Savannah, with TikTok. It's why I am migrating over to the YouTube space. I haven't done a lot there, and I need to. I'm kind of one of those people who does not do it until it's like critical. I have
Right.
ADHD. But in the meantime, yeah, because I don't trust that space anymore. I think it's March that it's going to be fully taken over by an American company, and I'm not going to be there for it at that time.
See, I'm just kind of worried about, honestly, wherever we go, depending on how far this administration is willing to
Right.
bend the Constitution. But I will say, as far as information available for like trans kids, young adults, um, I know they're trying to scrub it on government websites, but they can't scrub it from everything. And that is, I know that we have had actually gotten an argument on Facebook this week about this very topic and about the fact that, should information be out there? And there were a lot of people, obviously. Savannah, I grew up in the South. I am in the South. I get it. I'm in North Carolina. And they were talking about that information should be out there for children to be able to access and all this other, honestly, crap, right?
Yeah.
And just, I mean, because this is the same argument, I wish you get rid of the vaccines. In the same argument, in the same paragraph, right? Whole thing.
Right.
And I was like, look, there's a reason why we trusted the experts. We trusted science. We went to them. In North Carolina as well, but grew up in Florida. Oh, whoo, I'm glad you are not in Florida.
So much.
Thankful you are not in Florida right now. And there's such a pushback from the medical community and medical professionals. Like, that is the reason why the new CDC director, that is the reason why half the board walked away this past week when RFK Jr. was going out there talking about, I'm about to go, take vaccines off. And then when he made changes to the COVID vaccine recommendations. And then he went and said, hey, I'm going to go out there and tell people that taking Tylenol while you're pregnant causes autism. Whew. So many brain fire, earworms. I can't even make sense of the junk science that comes out of his face hole. Just
Do
know
you know
he
that?
has
Do you know
no
that
medical background.
their side thought that was a victory, a big victory? I've seen so many comments where they're like, yeah, he's telling him, he's showing him, he's finally speaking out against the big pharma and the medical appliance industry. And I'm like, oh my God, this is
Everybody's
what
an idiot.
we're
Everybody's
done.
an idiot.
Where do you meet with that? There's nowhere to meet with that. So, and they're in charge.
For that, I just
They're in
have to
charge.
think and that's what I was getting at with this medical scientists is they're pushing back and they're like, no, we're not doing that. I also know that when they started trying to wipe information from the CDC, from Health and Human Services, you had a lot of people within those spaces who were downloading and copying everything they possibly could get their
Right,
hands on. We have
right,
doctors who are doing the same thing. So they can go in and try and erase things. They can go scrub off names of buildings and name them different things. They can give themselves different titles if they want to. It doesn't mean it's constitutional. It doesn't mean that it's going to be there forever. We just have to hold on to hope. And that gets really hard some days. And
yeah.
trust me, for a whole lot of other different reasons, I get it. But at the same time, we don't have another choice. I'm not gonna lay down in defeat. I'm not
Yeah.
done. I'm not going to be quiet. I'm not going to be silenced. And my kid certainly is not going to be pushed out or erased or quieted or shipped off or put on a train or bus somewhere or put in a camp.
Yeah, over
Not
my
without
dead
my
body.
big angry voice coming out way ahead of
Yeah.
him.
Oh, there's going to be a different sound, and it's not going to be my voice. Come try. Let's go party.
Yeah, right, right, right. Okay, let's go back to joy. Let's go back to joy before we
Back
get too
to joy.
spicy. Back
Spicy
to
joy.
joy. Back to joy. Okay. Nature rituals. If your child is a kid who loves outdoors, and I had two kids, and a third one who kind of liked the outdoors, but two kids who really, really love the outdoors. My sister and I love the outdoors, but in different ways. Like I loved the views. Like take the background we're looking at right now, the beach. I loved the views of it. I didn't mind playing in the sand. I didn't mind learning about the flora and the fauna and going on hikes. But my sister also liked to get dirty in the mud. I didn't quite like the slimy and the dirt. Okay, like I could make the wet sand castles, but uh, some mud pies, but it started to get slimy and icky, and I didn't want to do it anymore. No, no. Give me my book. Give me my book and let me go look out the window at these beautiful scenes, or go sit on my porch, right, or something of that nature. But if your child is somebody who loves the outdoor, make a ritual of it. Stand in the rain together and call it a blessing. Watch the sunrise and speak an affirmation. Plant something and watch it grow as a symbol of resilience. Now, this one I love because I'm a gardener. And I love, 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 love to plant things. I love to put my hands in the dirt. I love to watch things grow, and feed it naturally, like between the water and the sunlight. It's all natural. And when you go outside and work in the yard, for me, that is a time where I don't really think about anything else. I just kind of peace out, and that's a place of peace for me. So if you're, again, natural or nature ritual could be a place that's also a place of regaining balance, of grounding, of finding peace when everything else feels chaotic. So it can be several things at once. Um, and then the last ritual that I have listed is a creative ritual. Dedicate a wall or canvas to your child's identity. Paint it together. Add to it every time. Let it be a living, growing piece of art that reflects who they are. I had a friend of mine who the way they did their child is they had a brick border wall in the backyard, and their child would paint like a scene every year as they kind of transitioned, and what they were experiencing at the time, whether it be something that was a symbol for them that was symbolic, or a certain color that they were into, whatever it was. And just do whatever. You can just paint something yourself, paint a picture, whatever it is,
I
craft
love
a
that. My
bracelet.
my son is so
Like,
much more like artistically minded. He's older. I'm not sure this would like work for him, obviously at his age or even by the time he came out. But I know that this is, to have those options for different, you
I
know,
still paint.
just
I
meeting our
still
kids where
paint for
they're at. What are
stress.
you into? Like my son's whole thing is for a long time was cowboys and it was Spider-Man.
Well, for instance, if he decides he wants to grow plants, he can paint his pots. That was a place, like I ran out of places to be creative because I painted my furniture and painted my furniture, and I think my ex-husband was looking at me like I was a little crazy. So then I started painting like the terracotta pots outside. I should paint that before I put a plant in it, or pull the plant out because I usually had like the plastic thing that sat inside of the pot anyway, the planter. So I would
Yeah.
like pull that out and then paint the pot, seal it, and then put something else in it. And we've got yard ornaments like snails and whatever. So when my kid came out, my youngest daughter, who was more into the painting at the time, she painted like this big rainbow snail. That like the shell of it is a giant rainbow. And it's like a 12-inch long snail with like the back shell is like a good 8-9 inches, just bright rainbow in the backyard. Or
Oh,
bright like 9-inch rainbow frogs, like the rainforest. They're like bright fluorescent yellow and bright blue, little things like that. And so my mom, she told me the other day, she's like, I think the turtle's starting to fade. We may need to repaint it. And I was like, ooh, what color do we want to do this time? Like that kind of thing
yeah.
is again something that you can just it's a way to put your energy that it blocks everything else out, even if it's for your children. And I used to do this with my kids, like for their little herb garden in the summer. We'd sit them down at the table in the spring and pull out all the paints, and I'd give them their little terracotta pots and whatever spices or herbs they wanted to plant. They could decorate the pot however they wanted to. And so my youngest always wanted to like paint the name of it and paint the actual plant, what it was supposed to look like on the pot. Whereas like my other kids were like just painting random animals on it, snakes or lizards or frogs or like whatever. I don't care. A parrot on the side of it, like nothing to do with it whatsoever. But just it was again a little piece of them. And it gave them some time to kind of self-express and let go, and they didn't think about anything else. So sometimes it's not quite tricking yourself into therapy, into self-care, but you are doing self-care. Just a little. Just a little, just so you know that. And somebody told me that one time. They were like, you know that when you run, that's meditation. And I was like,
Oh
what?
yeah.
And
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't really think of it that way. And I was like, oh, wow. I
Absolutely.
at the time, I was doing a lot of meditating, but not now. But
Yeah.
then I was running 2 hours a day. So I was doing lots of meditation back then. But I never thought of it that way. But it was like the only time I could kind of shut the ADD off,
Yeah. I loved it. That's why
right?
I loved running. But now I have
Right?
arthritis in my knee, so
Yeah.
no more of
Hips.
that.
Hips. Okay, building your circle of safety. This is the next part I wanted to go into. Joy is easier to hold when it's protected. A circle of safety is a group of people who will stand up for your child when you're not there. Teachers, coaches, neighbors, friends. Start by identifying 3 people you trust. Reach out to them, tell them your child's name and pronouns, ask for their support. And this is like when you're first getting started, really. Or say if your child moved to a new school, if you move to a new area and you need to reestablish these people within your child support group. And then we even gave like a simple little email draft that you could adapt. Hi, name. I wanted to share that my name uses these pronouns and chose a name. Your affirmation helps them participate fully and joyfully. Thank you for being part of their circle and of safety. Warmly, your name. And then this was another one that I really kind of wanted to offer to parents: handling pushback or awkward responses. And I know we get asked a lot of inappropriate stuff, and you want to pop off and knee jerk and smack somebody. And trust me, there are days where I'm right there with you. But it just puts some of these out there, just because sometimes when you're angry, it's hard to come up with stuff. And I'm not saying you carry this whole thing around with you, but if you just kind of like practice some of these in your head, maybe one will stick for you that you can just kind of like pull when you need that. I understand this may be new for you, but it's not new for my child. This is who they are. I'm not asking for agreement. I'm asking for respect. This is about my child's safety and well-being, and I know you care about that. If you're unsure, I can share resources that explain why this matters. And I appreciate your willingness to learn. It means a lot to our family. And
These
sometimes
are all,
and that's even if they're being ugly, you could still say that. And they're
yeah,
either going to like, they don't really know what to do with that.
yeah.
So either they continue to like stay there so that maybe you can teach them something, or they walk away. Either way, you've said your piece without spouting off and becoming a honey badger or a mama bear and tearing somebody's face off. And,
I love
we're
all of
trying to
those.
keep
I think they're all
peaceful,
very gentle, but they're all very firm. Like they don't
right?
leave a whole lot of wiggle room. I
Nope,
didn't have words like this, and I wish I had,
right?
because instead I really did, I am just a hothead. And without a little bit of guidance and some words like this, I really just start off with, here's the deal. If that's a problem, see you later. Like, I don't
Right.
care. I don't care
Well,
if it's
I
a
mean,
problem.
people who've come here, they know that mine was always, that's my kid's fact, and that's your
Right.
opinion. They're two entire, and your opinion doesn't change their fact. Period. And
But
that
just
that was
leave
always, and
them
that
more
came from the
gentle.
healthcare, like the autonomy space. And so for me, it was very easy to go, no, that's their autonomy. You're not taking
Right.
my autonomy as a woman. You're not taking their autonomy either. Just because that you don't agree with it doesn't
Yeah.
change it.
It just leaves more gentleness. And I know that even people in my own life who I was so certain were going to be so unwilling really did open up a lot. And that's after me kind of coming, in hot, because that's what I do. But those opportunities are there. They're not always there. If you know that person's not going to be that
Right.
person, and that's just how it is. And you can move on to the next person. You're allowed to say, this person's either a lost cause or it's going to be a later time. I'm not going to mess with them right now.
Right.
I'm going to work with someone who I know is more amenable, who, I trust more, or who is going to be, it's perfectly okay.
And maybe getting 3 or 4 of the amenables that are closer can get that one that was really distant to come in closer.
Let it go.
While you're working on other people who are willing, like seeing more people come around sometimes helps them get curious.
Sure.
To know. So the next part that we go into is learning together. A learning circle doesn't have to be formal. It can be your friends and family at the dinner table once a week or a group of friends on a video call. The idea is to keep learning together about gender, about history, about to be better allies. Each week, pick a topic or a resource. Watch a short video, read an article, or listen to a podcast. Then talk about it. What did we learn? What surprises? What do we want to explore more deeply? And that one I think I got because that's sort of what helped me in ways. Was like listening to different podcasts of trans people, of allies, and how they showed up, how they wanted other people to show up. Because again, I had gone to 2 different nursing schools and had one class that even began to touch the subject. And other than that, it was never touched upon again. And so when my child came out, I wanted to learn more for them on how to show up for them. And then honestly, because I was already in advocacy, especially when it came to patients' rights, this one was one that I suddenly realized his lens allowed me to see that there was so much missing. There were so many gaps that needed answers to. So that was one of the reasons why I kind of moved into it. Did you want to add anything on that, Jenny? Okay. The next one, and I think I don't know that I'll list it here because we're going to list a couple of these. We may even do an episode, and we kind of have done an episode about these myth versus truth as conversation starters. So you can make this part of your learning circle, writing down common myths on one side of a page and truths on the other. So if you have people who do want to learn, who are in your groups around you, they want to learn more and you're trying to advocate for them, you can. So, for instance, myth: kids are too young to know their gender. And on the back, flip over, many children have a strong sense of their gender identity as early as the age of 3. And we've had Dr. Sorrentino on here before. We've talked about this on several episodes about there are children who really do identify and know that there is something. They may not say it exactly. My child didn't, but they just knew something was different. And I always knew there was something different. And that's okay. Let me move to the next page. Yeah, so that way I can see this. Okay, another one. Using chosen names is just a phase. Truth. Research shows that using a child's chosen name significantly reduces depression and suicide risk. Myth. Affirming a child's identity confuses them. The truth. Affirmation supports a child's mental health and self-esteem. So you can create these kind of like myths versus truths. And even again, like if you had people who want to learn, who are coming in, who don't have a lot of information, you can get them to write down common myths that they have questions on, like 2 cards apiece, 3 cards apiece, and then kind of 1 second, or not 1 second, but one little truth that turn around that are like, no, this is why. Nope, this is why. Nope, this is why. So that you can give them what is true. Because the thing is a lot of them don't know. A lot of them don't understand either until they meet someone that is trans. And typically it tends to be someone close to them that's trying to come out to them. And they are now trying to grasp, do I accept it as something that they've never accepted before? And they don't know what is myth. They don't know what is truth because they've believed, honestly, myths for so very long. They believed misinformation. And right now, in the climate of mis and disinformation galore, when you don't have media integrity, where people are going in and truthfully saying, nope, that's false, or fact checking something for real, not on how they've been paid to fact check, or AI doing the fact checks and confusing what is truth and what is not, it is hard to keep up with it. but these are just some of the ways that you can kind of help the people that are in that circle around you and your children.
And there's
Sounds,
always going to
go ahead.
be, so like in my dad's situation, I think I can debunk myths all day long and I can show him truths and it just isn't going to matter. It just isn't. He has
Right,
decided what is true. He has decided that probably because of some religious beliefs or because, he's one of those people who just thinks he knows everything. But you can still approach everything with, okay, well, regardless of whether something is true, not true, verifiably this, can you just accept that this person that you love is trans? Can you?
right,
They
right,
are. You don't have to like it. You don't even have to think it's real. Can you accept that that's the person you love? And that worked mostly for a lot of people in my life until they came around. Was just that starting step of being able to say, I do want that person in my life. I do want a relationship with them. So am I going to be this way or am I going to be that way? And to be accepting and to kind of, start to dip your toe slowly into it has made the difference. I guess there's no other
right.
way to really say that.
I mean, it's unfortunate that it feels like a lot of it is confrontation, but I think if you kind of have a plan for it, like some of these statements, and so that you've already offered the grace within your statement, you're firm that you're not going to bend to somebody else's opinion, but at the same time, you're still being kind with your response back. Sometimes that's at least a small step forward. Um, so the fifth part that I had was in the 70s, there was no information about gender identity. And when I experimented with makeup or clothes, I was reprimanded by my elders. Boys, don't do that. I think I mean, there's that now. Unfortunately, there are parents that are still doing that now. Um, I wish we could change that for every child. I think, though, by talking about it more, we normalize it. um, that it's okay that your kid doesn't fit in that perfect A or B box. Um, we don't fit in A or B boxes. And somewhere along, and I know some people choose to believe that that is their belief, but they also need to understand that that is their belief. And just because they believe that way doesn't mean that other people do. None of us think the same. We don't share hive minds. We just don't. We would either be in a much better place or in a much worse place if we did right now. So I'm grateful that we don't, but yeah. So segment 5, which is just it's a tiny little thing. Um, I like music. So this is totally up to the people that are within our audiences, and they know that some of them on LinkedIn know that I do another show that is around music anyway. But something that you could do on your own too, if you didn't want to, is music has a way of bypassing our defenses and going straight to the heart. So I was thinking about creating a soundtrack of joy for the community, songs that lift us, remind us who we are, keep us moving. If you want us to make that playlist, let us know. If you have a song that you want to go on it, then everybody could send that into either LinkedIn, to our YouTube, email us at transparentspodcast@gmail.com. We'll add it to the list so it becomes something we've all built together. Or if you just wanted, this is an idea you could do for yourself. Like I have several playlists in my phone. Some of them are for working out because I need something more upbeat, right? And then some of them are about just different things. Like I have 3 different types of Christmas lists for traditional Christmas music, then the very zany, childlike, crazy, cartoony stuff, and then the
Oh,
one that's kind of like just all the other stuff together. So
cool.
so I've got like several different, because I've got so much Christmas music I couldn't put it all to. There were 31 days of 30 days. The amount of days in December wasn't enough to cover it with listening to music. So no, I had to chop it up in ways. But you could create your own playlist of joy and add whatever songs to it that uplift you, whatever songs that make you feel good. I don't care if it's go to Disney and start playing all the Frozen songs, all the Moana songs, everything that you like on those soundtracks that like lifts you, that makes you want to get up and dance and sing across the kitchen when nobody else is there, because I do that. put it on the playlist. Make it your own karaoke playlist. It's something of joy that you celebrate that makes you feel good. So the days that you feel like crap, put this on.
Yeah. You have to find some ways to get dopamine in you, because I remember people used to tell me like, oh, if you'll go work out, or if you'll go, and I know we hate all this, like, oh, the cure for depression isn't a pill, it's a walk in the woods, whatever. But there is truth to that getting your body moving, and where increases things like your endorphins and your dopamine and norepinephrine and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll do it. And maybe I was doing it to try to prove people wrong, and what I found was that they were correct, that it really did work. And I was like, crap.
Right.
And then just finding these other little ways. For me, it's my dogs. I mean, if I can just have my little guy and do something silly with my little guy, it makes me so
Yep.
happy.
Right.
The problem with feeling down, though, is that your brain will tell you, like, don't bother, it's not going to work, it's going to take too much effort. So things like having a playlist ready are quick, easy, they are low effort, and
Right.
it can be instant, rather than, oh, I've got to go do something, oh, go out and do well, now I got to put my face on, and I got to do my hair, and a
Put the
playlist
playlist on while you do it.
touch with a finger, and then boom, it's on.
Right. Do it while you're like, I feel like crap. I got to go drive that. Put the playlist on.
Here's my little dopamine boy.
Right. Right. And my son hit Coyote. Like that is I sent a picture to a friend the other night, and I was like, this is my grandpup. Like this is the first one I'm gonna officially name as grandpup. Because I don't think I'll have grandchildren, and I think I'll have grand animals, to be honest. And the majority of them are probably going to be pups. So right now I have one grand puppy, and she is part rat terrier, but we call her Coyote. And yeah, she's my same thing. She's my little 10, 15 minutes, and that's the shot of dopamine I needed. So the last part, so notes for the future. Sometimes the best way to hold on to hope is to imagine the future we're building. Here are some prompts you can use, or answer them yourself or with your child. For parents, what does celebration look like in our home? What do I want my child to remember about this season? What legacy of love are we building? For kids, my hope for the future is one thing I love about myself is something I want to try this year is. Those are just some simple things that you can sit down and write about and journal. And you could almost do this if you wanted to answer this question yearly and go back to it for yourself. Your children can go back to it for themselves. And what did I hope for the future? What did I hope last year? What did I hope 2 years ago? Or even if you want to do it month by month, whatever you need to keep moving forward. Remember, moving from fear to celebration, one ritual, one affirmation, one act of resistance at a time. And these would not, I tried to put them in a PDF and load them to LinkedIn and put them on YouTube as a link, and they would not go. So if you want these, I can again, right. If you want, I have the PDF. If you want, you can again email TransParents podcast@gmail.com, and I can send those to you. Anybody who's interested, seriously. And that's if you're watching this and you're an ally and you want that for your clients or something, I'm certainly happy to share that with you as well. Let me see here. What did I have for my final wrap up? I don't really. Yeah, it's just it kind of is, yeah, the wrap up. Is there anything else you wanted to add, I guess, this week? We're kind of playing it ear by ear. I don't really know what week to week we're going to be doing at the moment.
I know.
Jenni and I have talked about this. Thing changes so much on a
It does.
day-to-day basis.
I think just showing up,
Hmm.
because we can certainly schedule something, and then it seems like 1 week is this and 1 week is that, but it probably is time to, get some guests back on.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. I know there was one doctor that I was trying to get on early this year, and I need to reach out and see what her schedule is like and get her on. She was from the UK, and she wanted to answer to the cast review and the piece that we did in the cast review earlier in the year, and kind of talk about the UK and what had happened over there, and even more has happened honestly since then. So, and since then, actually, Trump has put out, his administration has put out their own review as well, so she could respond she wanted to do a series. So, but the only thing is timing because she's UK. We're going to possibly have to pre-record
We have to
those.
pre-record.
So
Okay.
again, I'm going to have to schedule it with her
Yeah.
secretary and figure out from there where to go.
I'm gonna work even harder to get us some kind of lawyer or legal team. I know that, you know, Josh over at Oklahoma Quality Law, he's just I know he's busy, I know what he's doing, but I will reach out to them again. I would love to have more of, you know, some legal perspective because it's real easy,
Right.
I think, to go, oh, we know this, we know that. Okay, what can people do right now? What do people really need to be afraid of? I don't mean afraid, but, you know, what do people need to
Yeah, and I
surround
I
really
do have
hard when
somebody
it's
out of
like a
DC who
bombardment.
works on legal policy
Right.
for healthcare within the
We need
trans
to have India
community.
on here. Oh my God, I love India. She is in Florida and she is constantly working like with the school boards and, you know, speaking at different, oh my gosh, we need to have India on. I'm going to talk to her. Anyway, but I think having more people on who can give us, because whenever you're
Right.
bombarded with all this stuff, it's hard to know what to even tier. It's hard to know what to
Right.
go, okay, this is the most important thing to focus on. And this,
Right.
I don't have to worry about that much. It was like the 2A thing. I know that upset everybody. It upset me. And I
Right.
hate guns, but it upset me anyway. And but I had I was able to sit and go, that's not even gonna happen. And if I worry about that, then I'm not worrying about all these things up here. And
Right.
where does my energy need to be best spent?
That's the other thing. If we can't change it, there's no need to. Why are we spilling milk over it? Why are we
Right.
crying over it?
Just
If
gotta
it's not going to
focus.
change it, then we need to figure out and shift gears where we can pour energy into that will make a change.
Right.
And it may not be big steps right now. It may only be little tiny steps, but we do what we can to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Choosing joy doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It means refusing to let
Yeah.
fear have the last word. Tonight, we've talked about victories. We're celebrating daily practices, rituals, building a circle of safety, learning together, and even dreaming up a soundtrack. We've also put together a downloadable joy toolkit with affirmation, ritual guides, and conversation starters. You can use at home. Again, that's what I mentioned. If you want, reach out to transparentspodcast@gmail.com. You can find the link, actually, and that's why I was saying this because you can't find the link down below because I was trying to add that in there. Pick one thing from tonight and try it this week. And if you want to share your own victories or ideas, connect with us. Until next time, keep celebrating, keep resisting, and keep loving out loud. Bye, guys.
Bye.